Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
It's Croctober, the official celebration of Crocs fans like you. So whether you like to rock your classic clogs, get cozy and fuss-lined, personalize with your favorite Jibbitz charms, or even, dress up like a clog for Halloween, it's time to tell your story and share your style. Join the Croctober celebration with Crocs fans around the world. Go to Crocs.com to discover the range of shoes and find a pair that's iconic like you. Crocs, celebrating you all month long.
Hey, what's happening? This is your host, Tinto, and before we get started on this week's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees, starting with you, Batsy B. Oh man, 5 generous coffees. And Jacomite reads, I love this podcast and recommend it to anyone who will listen. Thank you, Tinto, and all the brave people willing to share their stories. Thank you, Batsy, really appreciate that. And then we got Tobe, 2 generous coffees, and Jacomite reads, keep them coming. I sure will do that. And then Kai Shell, hey, thank you once again, and I hope you had a safe trip. Your comment there reads, thank you for creating a safe space for us to learn and grow. My favorite podcast, and that's 3 generous coffees. I appreciate you. And then fresh one, we got Rude Boy Gaming Studios. Hey, thank you. I've seen your interactions online. I really appreciate you. 2 coffees, and your comment there reads, something small, but keep up the great work, Chief. Hey, man, I really appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, DD Stars. Hey, welcome back once again. 5 generous coffees, and your comment there reads, sip on some coffees as you do the Lord's work, Tinto. Yep, those coffees really came through this week. If you'd like to support the podcast in a similar way, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeling station and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there's nothing too small to support the podcast that you've grown to love. With that out of the way, hey, let's get this week started on the right note. Here's your episode.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hi, Tinto.
Why the hi, Tinto?
It's happening now.
Yes.
We're here now.
If your
There's no turning back.
If your nerves are settled. No. Still not?
Nope.
Don't worry. Within a couple minutes, you'll be all right. Welcome to the Feeling Station.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a romantic family and friendship breakup podcast showcasing stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give lessons from their experiences. Now, I hope you find today's story entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful. And the podcast is popular really for 2 main reasons. One, and I guess the most important being, I try and keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the fun part. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
So, the name I'm giving you for the duration of this episode comes from Mauritius. Yeah, and because the Indian influence around Mauritius, your name is Veena, which is VEENA.
Okay.
Veena. And what that means is harp. So the musical instrument, the harp, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you think about a name meaning an instrument, you're like, huh? But the reason why parents call their children Veena and liken it to the harp is because you play a harp very gracefully. It's a very graceful instrument. So they imagine their children being graceful children. And off the back of that, the English translation of that is often grace.
Oh.
Yeah. So your name is Veena. And what would you like to call the person you're talking about today?
Alrighty. So I was struggling to pick a name that suits him.
Mm-hmm.
So we've ended up with Mr. Path.
Mr.
Short for Path. So PATH.
Yeah. Oh, I know where this is going. Can I guess? Pathological liar.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Exactly that.
So okay, so this is about Veena and Mr. Path. And the second reason why the podcast is doing really well is there are real life lessons that people are going to take away from the story you're going to share today. So, what would you like anybody listening to go away with?
Alrighty. So I have 5 lessons.
Yay.
But I'm sure the listeners will pick as many lessons.
The man taught you a thing or two, huh? Okay, cool. Go for it.
Okay, so the first one is your sixth sense is your saving grace. Listen to it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, red flags are called red flags for a reason.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor and respect yourself.
Yes. Number 3.
And number 3, 2 minutes of high does not equate to a healthy relationship.
Hey, Sha. Is that all he gave you?
I don't know if it was worth that, but anyway, we're here now to tell the story.
Yeah.
And then
Number 4.
where's the other one now? Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Sometimes actually I had 4, so I mixed. So I sort of combined the other one. So the red flags one, it's red flags are called red flags for a reason. Do yourself a favor and respect yourself.
Okay.
And also try not to be a clown in the name of love. Yeah. So that's like the 4 one. And then the third one being 2 minutes of high does not equate to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Then the last one, sometimes you just make dumb decisions in the University of Life, and that's it.
Oh, in the University of Life.
Yeah, and that's it.
I like that. I really like those. Okay, so let me play those back. Number 1, your sixth sense is your saving grace. Listen to it. Mm-hmm. Number 2, red flags are called red flags for a reason. Do yourself a favor and respect yourself and try not to be a clown in the name of love. Number 3, 2 minutes of high. It does not translate to a healthy relationship. And last but not least, sometimes you just make dumb decisions in the University of Life and that's it. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So let's get straight to it. Veena, tell me how you met Mr. Path and why did you decide this is the guy for me?
Okay. So it's like a slow burner, if I can call it.
Okay.
So I met Mr. Path. My first interaction with him was first year varsity, first week actually. So I got introduced to him by a mutual friend. Just met. He told me, oh, this is so and so, Mr. Path. He's doing. We had like similar classes, different degrees, but we had similar classes in the first year. And then that was it. It was just like a brief introduction. Cool. And then with time, it was just, a matter of, I know that person, maybe they would because I was involved in a different country from home. So obviously, when you're like people from the same country, you sort of end up linking. Yeah. So you sort of know a couple of people from home and all that. So I knew of him, not in detail, but just knew like, oh, that's him. We just peek here and there when we meet. That was it. That was like our first interaction. And then, so that was my first year. Second year, then end of second year, that's when I think now we had shared contact or something to that effect. And then one day he asked me to come to a house party. So he was hosting a house party at his place, supposedly his place. Okay. So he invited me. So I went there with 12 of my housemates. We went there. House parties. It is what it is. And then I remember that night, he then said, oh, can I talk to you? Da, da, da. So we went outside. He sort of like started telling me, oh, I've sort of liked you from afar, da, 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 da. But I just thought, he's probably drunk or I don't know, something has just got into him. I didn't take it seriously. I was just like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay, fine. And this was like almost end of year. So almost when we were about to go home for the holidays. So then he asked me, can I take you out on a date or something? So then I was just like, yeah, sure. I'll just check and come back to you. Something of that effect. And then obviously we went home after the party. And then just to note there, I ended up realizing that the place where he had said where the house party was, I think he had initially said it was his place. And then I realized it was not his place. But this I only found out later. So that's the lying part starting there. So that's like number 1.
Wow. Okay, whose place was it?
So it ended up being a friend's place. So it's either he said it was where he was staying, his place, and yet it wasn't, or he had lied. It was not his place, and yet it was his place. I can't really remember, but I know for a fact it was a lie. The house issue.
It doesn't matter what it was. All you know, it was a lie.
I don't know. It was a lie.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
All right.
So that was like the first, but I only realized that later. Okay, cool, fine. Oh, I'm like, oh, a date. For me, I was just like, oh yeah, that's cute. And because like that was like my second year. Just a brief story background again.
Yeah.
When I went to varsity, I was like a very bookworm. I was just like, you know what, I come to school to study, I'm just doing books. So I was just like a bookworm. Let's just put it like that. So then when he asked me out to go on a date, and I thought he was cute, I was like, okay, fine, I'm excited. I even went to get a new outfit, da-da-da-da. We went out. It was like a stargazing kind of picnic, I don't know, date, which went well. And then I remember during the conversation, we'll talk about general stuff. So it was never like personal stuff. So it was never like, oh, like I'm like a 1 out of 4 kids. It was never like personal related. It was more like just general stuff. That's what I remember. Just take note of that.
So did you just describe it as a stargazing picnic?
Yeah. That's how I remember it.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I was doing in my head, I was trying to play night and day at the same time. But then I think you then went on to say that it was a stargazing date.
Yes, it was, because it was at night. Yeah.
Also, the first time you guys met was at night.
Oh yeah, yes.
Date-wise,
I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like,
Thank you. See, another lesson we can end on.
Did anything come of that night?
No, because the funny thing is, if I remember well, he didn't mention anything about, trying to pursue. It was just like it got me very confused. Let's put it like that.
How?
Because it was just like, he had asked me at the time, or like sort of. So I thought, okay, maybe the picnic is like, get to know each other. And so it was just like a friends meetup, really. If I look back at it, it was just like nothing serious out of it, I think. So then, so that was like almost like we're going home. Then during December, we were back home. He was just MIA. He was just not there. He just went MIA. So now I was confused. I'm like, okay, was I imagining things? Was this guy really asking me out? Like, what was going on? But I just thought, maybe I was reading between the lines and I was wrong. Okay, fine. We went home, came back. And then when we got back, he was like, oh, you were all quiet. And I'm thinking, sir, but you were quiet. Like, what do you mean? And then I think from then he then sort of tried to be, so then I just let it be. And then I think then that's when he started picking up with trying to now asking me out again, if I can call it. And then we sort of got in the flow of things, I guess, if I can put it like that. So then we eventually started dating mid-year. So now I was like in my 3rd year. Started dating then. And things were okay, I guess. No, actually not. Because I remember the day, or let's say maybe we'd probably started dating maybe the weekend. Let's say it was a weekend. Then Monday we were back at school. I was sitting with my friend who was also mutual with him. So we're just catching up on how the weekend was. She told me, oh, we went out to this club. Oh no, she didn't go, but she knew of people who had gone to this club. So of course the people I knew, and then she started mentioning names. This and this, Mr. Path. And then I'm like, Mr. Path went out, because how I'd remembered, which of this you would have spoken on the weekend. He had said, no, I was home, So that was like another lie. So then eventually we sort of figured that out. I asked him about it. Obviously he denied, no, I was not there. And there was like clear evidence to like confirm that he had gone there. And to me, I was just like, okay, why are we lying? This is like an unnecessary lie. It's not like anyone is being told, don't go out clubbing or anything. Anyway, I just ignored it.
So how early into your talking stage was this?
So we had already started dating. So we had just started dating when I found out about that.
How did you start dating? Did he say, I want you to be my chick, or he just kind of mellowed into it?
No, he eventually asked, probably. He did ask. I think, some time. And then obviously, I think I waited for a few. There was just something in me that was not like, oh, yeah, let's do this. I just kept procrastinating. And then, I don't know, I think I just then fell up saying, okay, let's just do this.
So,
that's how it started.
So from my end, trying to catch this, it's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Because all I have so far is you guys went on a star date, you went on holiday, and the next thing you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, it took like 6 months before we became boyfriend and girlfriend. So between then, we would meet up, and I'm sure we'd go for dates. I think we would. He was sort of trying to, what is it? Because remember, he wasn't talking to me. So I thought, okay, it's done. So then I was like, okay, but you're not talking to me. Like, now you're asking me, like, what's going on? So he was sort of trying to redeem himself, if I can call it that. So he did try, to, I don't know. We did go on dates, I think, if I remember well. And he did ask me out properly. Yeah.
What did he say his reason was for being quiet whilst you guys were in what I think was your talking stage over the holiday? But why did you say he was quiet? Because he felt you were quiet too.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, his excuse was, I remember it was like a lame excuse. I can't remember the finer details of what was the excuse. But it was just one of those where it's like it's not a good enough reason. And me being naive, I should have just said, you know what, maybe. But I was also like, we're not really a thing. That's how my thinking was. We're not really a thing. So maybe I shouldn't expect so much, I guess, from him.
So you obviously said yes to becoming a thing.
Yes.
Because there's probably something you liked about him that I do not have a single clue about. What did you like about this guy?
I thought he was obviously he was cute, but I thought he had he was a very calm person. Even now, I think since we dated, he was very calm. He was I don't know what I really liked about him, honestly, but he was like an okay person.
So you don't know. So you don't know what you liked about a guy, but then you said yes to him, and he's been relatively quiet on a holiday.
Yeah.
You're not really painting a good picture of Mr. Path, No, of yourself.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be I also did not make a conscious decision of okay, why do I really want to be with this person? It was just more of he's been asking me out. To be honest, I think that was mainly the reason. Oh, he's been asking me out. Oh, we are I sort of know him, because in my head I thought I knew him, because now it was 2.5 years since I'd met him. But it didn't really mean that I knew of him in that detail. It was just we were associated together. And then in my head, I think at that time, I thought, but I know him. We've been friends. We've been talking. Which also, of course, it was to my detriment at the end. I hope you probably see it when I continue talking, because it's, you've known someone, just knowing them. In my head, I thought, we're friends. I've known, I don't know, I just assumed I knew him, and I didn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's starting to make a bit more sense now.
Yeah, I think it was just the familiarity with it.
Yeah, and just to make it clearer to myself, you said okay to dating Mr. Path based on limited information about what he might be like romantically, because he was a familiar friend from the past.
Yes.
And you assumed that you knew what he was about, and you thought you liked what he was about.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Alrighty. So then the club story happened. Obviously, I asked him. He denied it. And then I was just okay, fine. I let it go. Okay. So that was end of 2019. Everything was sort of okay. I think we were okay. And then COVID happened. So that was then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID 2020, it was okay. Of course, we had issues, maybe things that I didn't pick up during that year, that I didn't pick up that were happening. But problems really started in 2021. That was the year after.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still together. We still celebrated a year or whatever when we were together. And then now in that year, I'd finished school, and I'd found a part-time job, if I can call it. Right? 2020. Yeah, I'm correct. So then I started working. So I had this extra money, and I started like a small business on the side. So I had like a bit of money going on for someone who's coming from varsity, if I can call it. And then he was still in school. Long story, but he was still in school. Okay. So we were going on. Then the one day, I don't know, just something nagged on me. Just like, just check his name on what is it called? The university registry. You know, when people graduate and then your names are on that list. Because I think the previous year when you were meant to, okay, let me take you back. So we had like a 3-year program. Then you would graduate. Then you would do another 1 year. Then you would graduate. Let's say if you've passed, right? So it's like you graduate twice, but it's like a 4-year university kind of life. So when we finished our 3rd year, when I was going into my honors, he didn't pass his one of his modules, so he had to repeat. There was another story. He had lied to me that, he had passed, only for me to figure out that, no, he hadn't passed. Then he was redoing it, right? So that was 2020. So now 2021, now I would have expected that when I'm graduating with my 2nd degree, he's done with his. But obviously, because it was still COVID, you wouldn't really know because you're not doing graduations. But obviously, your names will still be on the registry. I asked him, are we going to go get our certificates together? And then he had said, he gave me a story. I don't know, can't remember what he said, but he gave me a story. But with me, I just like, there's just something wrong. Because, if you've graduated, why don't you want to just go and collect certificates together, right? And then, so when I was working, I just thought, I don't know, something just came on for me. It's just like, just check on that list of people who've graduated. So I searched for my name first. I'm like, okay, let me just check for my name. I found my name in both the lists. I looked for his name because now he should have graduated. His name was not there. I'm like, okay, am I dreaming? I started to panic. So then I looked for another person I knew of who had also failed the previous year, who would have graduated now. Looked for their name. Their name was there. I was like, okay, so it's definitely not because, you haven't, like, there's no valid reason for this. And I remember we were meant to meet up that day. So then I asked him when we met, because I was like, if I call him, he's going to tell me stories. That was what he was good at. You call him, he's going to tell you stories, or he'll just do stuff and you just, like, whatever. Like, it is what it is. You just don't pursue the asking. So then I'm like, let me wait. Let me see him in person. Then I'm going to ask him. So I see him in person. I asked him, okay, we speak. And I'm like, okay, I checked for your name on the the list of people who graduate. I couldn't find your name. What happened? And then Mr. Boy says to me, I don't know what excuse he gave me, if it was like a fees kind of thing or just like a very lame excuse, because even if it was fees related, our university didn't, like, you probably won't get your certificate, but your name is going to be on that list of people who've like graduated. I'm telling you, he told me a whole story. And then to turn it on, it changed the whole story. And now he started speaking about a family meeting that was going on at home. He started crying to me. And then it was like a mess now. So I think he sort of found a way to manipulate me in so many of the instances that I'll mention and some maybe that I'll just miss. So he would, like, whenever you would ask him a question, right, or you want to understand something that would have happened, instead of him saying, okay, I've done this, or, like, I've messed up, whatever, it would always be like, no, you don't understand. It's the devil trying to break us up. And then he would turn the whole story maybe now talking about something that's emotional that would have happening at home. And now it's a whole shenanigan. He's in tears. It was just a mess. But me being me, instead of just saying, you know what, let me just pick my bags. Not pick my bags, because I was not staying with him, but let me just, leave. I was like, no. I sort of got upset for a few days, I guess. But then obviously we got back together because we were still together. Okay, fine. That's another story. Okay. Back to the working thing. So when I was working, I was also doing like a business, I think I mentioned, on the side. So I realized that some of the money I was getting from the job I was doing, I had like extra money, if I can call it, which I was not really using. So he then said he started a business, right? At some point, he started this business that he was doing, So us, because we were in a relationship, we were in a relationship. I can't remember how the story came about when he then said, because I was saying, okay, I've got this money, I would want to either save it or invest it in something, which I know I can get the money when I need it. He's like, why don't you invest in this business of mine? Yeah. I'm like, my man.
What was his business?
Tinto.
What?
Can I not just say the business? But it was something with the way I think I am like a decent human being in terms of I should have been, clogged certain things and just say, no, this doesn't make sense, Vina, run. But no, I was just like, oh yeah, makes sense. I'd never seen what they were doing. Oh, you would send me pictures, but I'm sure now when I think back, it was just pictures from Google or something. I don't know. Maybe someone was doing the business. You just give me pictures of things they've done. I don't know.
Is there a specific reason why you don't want to say what business he did? Do you think you will then clock that you're talking about him, or what? Why can't you
But
just
even
say?
if it does, maybe let me just tell you. He said he was in a banner making businesses. So do you know banners?
Yeah.
Like the company banners or whatever. So that was
yeah.
the business.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay. So he would speak of like how they're doing, I'm just like, okay, let me give you a few of the money some money that I have. Then you can, I don't know, then he said he was going to give it to me, obviously with profit, with interest, because I wouldn't have been using it. I'm like, okay, cool. I gave him the money. I think gave him the money. And then fast forward, so we're dating, obviously. I'm saying, the money it's working for me whilst I'm sleeping. Obviously, that was not the case. So a couple of months then, there were so many instances. There was another time where I remember one of the people who he used to call friends or who he associated himself with would like call me or text me and say, oh, Mr. Potts has my money. Mr. Potts not giving me my money or whatever. And then I'll be like, okay. Then I'll ask him, so-and-so was calling me, asking me about the money that you owe them. What happened? I'd ask. And then I don't know if I was stupid because I don't think I'm that dumb, Like when I look at myself, I'm like, okay, you're not that dumb. I don't know what was going on. And then he would just give me a reason, Tinto. And those reasons to me, obviously, at that time, made so much sense. And I don't know why it would make so much sense to me.
Okay, a reason like what?
The money thing was we had a deal. So he would tell me like, oh, we've had a deal with this guy. Now he's just trying to turn things on me. And he knows if he comes to you, you're like my weakest link. So obviously, you ask me, he's just trying to aggravate me, da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's a thing we did together, as boys, wada, wada, wada. So that was some of the excuses they would give me. Okay, cool. And then I was just like, you must tell this people to stop calling me because I really don't appreciate them calling me and telling me things that don't concern me. Okay? Anyway, fast forward. Now it's time for that money.
But before you fast forward about the whole money thing,
yeah,
I'm a little concerned at how little light you've shed on any emotions you may have had for this guy. Are you trying to get so detached from him that you want to act as if you're a pillar of salt?
No, okay.
You're really not describing anything empathetic, soft, either about yourself or about him.
Tito,
it's there's something missing here. I feel like you liked him.
I did.
I think, and you're downplaying how much you liked him. And I don't think I want to get to know the why because that will be apparent. So let me just strip it back just a little bit. Just a little bit. You said he was cute, right?
Yes.
Did you guys spend any quality time together?
We did.
Right. And how was that quality time with him?
It was good. Like he was a lovely, lovely, lovely person. I think.
Tell me about some of that stuff that you enjoyed about him.
He was great company. He was very, he would just listen to me. Like, I'll just go rant. People would just get you. I thought he did. He would be, if you need him to be there, he was, I don't know, all the good qualities of a guy, I guess, before he started acting out.
That's very generic.
But he was
that's very generic. Let's say my best friend is called William. William and I do not, probably the most common thing we have together is a penis.
Okay, so Tinto.
Outside of that, you can't just randomly say that. Okay. I'm really trying to get why you're fighting whatever it is that you gave up for this man. Did you guys have sex?
We didn't.
You didn't have sex at all?
At all, yeah.
Is that because he was physically unattractive to you, or it's just a value that you decided to uphold for yourself?
That's where I was hoping the story would not get to, but here we are. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, So would I call? So can I call myself? Maybe I was like a late bloomer. Let's put it like that. Because he was even the first guy I kissed. When I was like 21. And was there a reason for that? Not really. I just think he was like the first real boyfriend I had, if I can call it that.
Okay.
Yes, in high school. Do you want to ask me something?
Okay, so the backstory to this, just based on what you said, is you're a bookworm. You're really focused on your education. You want to do well, and you want to pass well. And so boys and anything romantic wasn't something that was a priority to you. It was neither here nor there. And then comes along Mr. Path, who you think is cute. He then happens to be the first person that you kiss. But I think you were still very focused on your books, your studies, career, success, and all of that. Until he started mentioning things to you money-wise that you thought made sense and invested into. And you're starting to bump into some things about him that you don't like him telling you lies. But beyond that, there's a softer version of you that was like, okay, I actually like him enough for me to try and make this work, whatever it is that makes it work. So was he your first ever boyfriend?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. So were there things about him that were better than your previous guy?
Yes, I would like to think so. Yeah.
Like what?
I think because my previous, like the person I dated before, it was just like, high school stuff. And because high school, in the sense that I was like in boarding school, so we'd see each other maybe like during holidays. So it was never like you wouldn't really get enough time with a person. So with this Mr. Path, I would like really have enough time with him. So would go like, for example, would go on my birthday, would like take me out to like a different city. For example, would drive, because I had a car then. So would go so many places and would enjoy like food tasting, like a restaurant hopping and things like that. So we would do so many things together that, yeah, I really did love him. I think I'm just trying not to dwell on that or like mention it as much, but I really, really, truly loved him so much. I did.
Okay, I don't want to psychoanalyze stuff because I don't know how to do that anyway. I don't have the training for it. But the resistance to your softer side in him is very apparent. So you have a choice to make as you continue to speak about this episode. Either let that come through because it's one of the things that somebody can benefit from, or keep the wall up and potentially not help somebody who's really listening to this. Because one of the things that really makes people on this podcast feel like they need to pay attention to it is the vulnerability of it and the vulnerability of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I have one question before we proceed.
Yeah.
Are you okay being vulnerable?
I'll do my best.
You'll do your best. Okay.
I'll do my best.
Right. Okay. Let's let's do that and see how that pans out for us. So so right now we're now at the point where there's a business transaction happening, and then somebody's calling you.
Yeah.
And you're like, why is this person on me? Why are they on me?
Yeah. Okay. So then that happens. So like the points that I maybe putting out of like this friend, so everything would be okay, so like we'll be fine, you're like, okay, everything is fine, and then it would be just those pop-ups where certain things just happen in between. So then I think there was then a point I then asked for that money because I think it was meant to be with him for like 3 months or something.
Yeah. And
then when that time then came, and then I just like asked, okay, so how far can I get that money back? I need to use it now. And then he just started telling me like stories. So it would be, oh, we didn't get paid for this one round, or oh, this happened, or that happened. So, I don't know. I would just have like some sort of bandwidth to say, okay, I understand. You're dating someone you love, you like them, you're just like, okay, maybe it's true. Like, I really believed him. That's the sad thing. I really believed what he would tell me. I'm sure if somebody would tell me, because even when these people would come like this, guy I'm telling you about, I knew that guy as well. I could have, said, okay, but why is this guy? But I would be like, you know what? I'm trusting what he's telling me. Yeah, I think just for my sanity, I just thought, let me just, I'll trust him and then still ask him for it. So then I asked for the money. Okay, story is the 1 week. Okay, maybe we'll get it when the business deal gets over for whatever. Okay, cool. So obviously life keeps going on. We still meet. We're still, we're still relationshiping in life. And then there's like a few weeks down. I think a couple of months down. And then I'm like, okay, what is really going on? Like, what's the matter? Who must I speak to? Is there someone I need to speak to? So then he mentioned that there was this one uncle of his who he was doing the business with. So he said, he's also stressing me because now he keeps giving him stories, and I would like feel so sorry and, trying to help, because so what can we do about it? Because now obviously it's affecting you as well. So what can we do about it? And then there's one time he's just like, oh, I'm going to give you his number, because I think I was just getting too persistent, because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Just can I speak to him? Can we have a chat with this uncle of yours? He gave me a number. And then obviously I think I texted him. Silly me, I think I probably tried to call and no one picked up the call. So I resorted to texting, hi, I'm just checking, like with obviously not being rude or anything. And then he did explain, whoever was responding, and say, or something, we got delayed or something, a good explanation, but give us a week or something, get it sorted. I'm like, okay, cool. Why must I bother this uncle? Let me give him the time. I think I even extended with another week or something. And then I then ask again, and then now it's so we had like a whole conversation. It even turned to 2 months. And then I'll tell him, this uncle of yours is not telling me anything that I can, like, whatever he's saying is not making sense, And then you'd be like, no, maybe it's the wife. And I would even try to call, and then he wouldn't answer. So the thing is, the uncle would not answer, the call, but he would respond to my text.
How was he an uncle? What was the relationship?
It was like, those family, I think it was like the sister-in-laws, because when he was at school, he was staying with a brother and the sister-in-law and the kiddies. Yeah. So the sister-in-law's relative. So
okay.
I'm not sure how they're related. So I'd even met that uncle, because I'd even met the family, the one who were in the country where we were. So I thought, we are cool. We've met before. You wouldn't be doing funny stuff to me. I would like to think so. Which didn't make sense when he wouldn't answer my call, because I was like, we've spoken before. Anyway, that went on for a bit until now the uncle or the person who was responding was now becoming very, very rude to me. Like, stop pestering me. And then I'll be like, okay. Anyway, I later on realized, okay, so by then I didn't know. So then I was like, okay, let me stop pestering this uncle. Let me speak to my boyfriend, because he's the one I gave the money to. And then it was also still stories and stories and stories on. Only for me to then later on realize that it was him who was texting me on the other number. So
what?
He was texting me as an uncle.
Wow.
Because now I think the only way I realized was, I think I tried to call I tried to call him, and then he was sort of responding at the same time. There was just something that happened. And then I realized that it was him. Then I would ask, and then I asked him that, are you the same person who's like calling me?
Yeah.
At first, obviously, he denied it, but later on, at the end of the relationship, he did.
Mad.
So imagine like someone doing those kind of things to you. Anyway, so that was like the business story. So I just kept saying, you know what, I need my money. From then, I think a few months also passed. We're still in 2021. Then the one time he says, okay, I'm starting to help someone with their whatever he was doing, which was related to what he had studied. Then they promised me they're going to give me this money, and then when they give me that money, at least I can give it back to you, or I wait for my deal to go through, right? I'm like, okay, fine. Gave him a couple of weeks to do that. After that, people are not paying me. People are not paying. So he sort of gave me that. When you'd come to me, I would always feel bad and feel sorry for him, because it's like life is just so difficult for him. He's trying one thing, things are not working out. And, you try to understand, but at the same time, you're also like, okay, but you are, just please sort me out as well.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then there was one instance when because I had a car then, which was very silly. Anyway, he used to stay, or there was another uncle who used to stay very close to school where we were. So then let's say we would be studying late at night, and then I would go drop him off outside. And you'd always say, oh, that's my uncle's place. From there, I'll then go to my brother's house later on. They'll take me. I don't know how I even bought that story. Anyway, that was the story he gave me. Then this one other time, I think it was before the Manu story, this uncle we're talking about, the business partner.
Yeah.
He was also outside the day I dropped him off. And then he's like, oh, are you not coming inside? You know, like the sister-in-law and them are actually in the house. So to me, that was very odd because I'm like, okay, this is not their house. That was even before I'd met them. So this is not their house. This is the house you've been saying it's like for an uncle. So then, obviously not wanting to make a sin, I didn't say much then. Then I later on asked him, what was that uncle talking about? He's like, you know, he was probably drunk. It was nothing deep. Okay, cool. I let it be. And then, so now he's in this business with this other person where he's trying to help them so that he can get money to pay me back. Another story, oh, they can't pay me back because of this and this and this.
Yay.
Stories on top of stories.
How much, by the way, did you give him?
I think it was like 600 US dollars. But then because you're still in varsity, it was like
it's a lot. Yeah.
Being, you know?
It is, yeah.
And then at one point, I'm like, you know what? I know this person. Like, I've spoken to him before. I will get his number. I'm going to call him and say, why are you stressing my boyfriend? Why are you not giving him his money? What are you guys doing? Right? I got this guy's number. I didn't tell him I was going to do it. I call this guy. This guy tells me, so I asked him, I'm like, oh, hi, sorry and so. I'm just checking, you know, sorry, Mr. Pat did something for you guys. What's happening? And then he says, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. So now I'm the silly one. I'm asking something. So I'm just like, oh, okay, sorry, maybe I'm just, you know, I apologized. Then I hung up. I call Mr. Boyfriend. I ask him. Now I'm upset, obviously. I'm like, I just called so-and-so. He's telling me this is not what's going on the ground.
Yeah.
I think he hung up on me or something to that effect. And by then, I'd already met, obviously, the brother and the sister-in-law, and we were in talking terms with the sister-in-law. And there was another incident where she had also called me because we had done something at home, where she had called me. I don't know what he was just full of stories and dramas, and it was just things going on. And if you'd want to speak to him about it, you'd be like, oh, the devil's just trying to, you know, to break us up, you know, we have a future, whatever. So then I called the sister-in-law, the sister-in-law, and then asked her, I'm like, okay, I don't know how I brought the subject up, because I think I started with the money thing. And then that's when he started talking. He was like, oh, yeah, when we used to stay at that place, which then I figured, okay, that house he was telling me as an uncle, that's where they were staying, the family, like the sisters. I'm thinking, okay, that was a very silly lie. Like, why would you lie on things like that? And then she refers something about like another family member. He had lied to me about his whole family structure, like how many siblings he had. The siblings, for example, the one sibling didn't have kids. He had said she didn't have kids, and yet she was like a mother of 3. Like, you know, those kind of. And all these things only came after I called the sister-in-law, because she was just now ranting stuff without knowing. I've got no clue about what she was talking about. And then I was just like, you know what? So she kept on and on and on. And then I think after that, I then called him more than I spoke to him. And I told him, you know what? I think I've really had enough of all this. Maybe we just need, I'm done. Like, I'm really done. You cannot keep lying to me. Why are you lying? Like, everything with you, it has to have a story with it.
Yeah.
You know, it just has to have a story with it. And you'd be like, oh, I don't know what would have gotten into me. You know, I love you. You know, I never want to hurt you. But I'm like, okay, you're saying all that, but your actions are the total opposite. He was very good with his words. He would tell you things and you would start seeing stars and all the beautiful stuff. Then when it comes to him delivering or doing stuff, he would do nothing, or like he'll do the opposite and then turn that whole story and make you, because sometimes I would even ask myself, am I overreacting? Am I the crazy one here? Like, am I the one who's not understanding him? Another one.
He was just a mess. He was basically a charmer, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
He was. And then it was, so I thought, you know what, because I was just done. I was just like, you know what, I'm just done. And good for me, that time I'd also gotten a job in a different province. So I'm like, okay, maybe this could just be a good start for me. At least I'm far away from him, because I'm sure if I see him again, I'll probably listen to one of his stories and we'll be back together or something.
Yeah.
Then I went to my my work in a different province. I thought, you know what, I've got it. I think the first year it didn't bother me. You know that thing of you break up, you block everybody. I think you block him everywhere. You know, you just don't want to hear or see anything that speaks of him. I went, I think the first year I was like, okay, fine, I'm getting better. And then I don't know for what reason, I think he probably texted me on LinkedIn a year later. Texted me on LinkedIn trying to...
On LinkedIn, you know?
I think it was LinkedIn, yes.
Wow.
I've got your money now. I want to pay you back. I'm sorry.
This is where I'll be playing the song, Show Me the Money.
I'm always like, I'm sorry. I need to give you your money back. So me, because I was like, I want my money, obviously. So then I unblocked him, I think on, it was WhatsApp or whatever, wherever. Me expecting my payment, okay? And then I think he gave me a bit of it. Because I remember the other time he even got me a bag. Instead of giving me the cash, he got me like I'm like, this guy. Anyway, so then I was like, okay, fine. Because by then I'm over the pain, or so I thought. So I'm like, okay, I don't have any vendetta against you. You know, we're not going to be friends, but I don't feel how I felt when we broke up. So he gave me part of the money. So I'm like, why must I block him again? You know, let me just keep talking. Like, not talk to him, but wait until he finishes my payment. And then, okay, fine. I carry on with my life. I'm doing my life. Then this one time he says to me, oh, you know what? I'm actually thinking of coming to where you're working. And then I'm just coming there. Maybe we can meet and have a chat about what happened between us. You know, I still love you, stories and stories. And I don't know, me being silly, I don't know if it was just being silly or it was, I don't know. I just thought, you know what? Maybe not give him a chance, but maybe let me just listen to him. Maybe he was just in a bad space. Maybe life was just hard for him around that time. Let me, listen to him. Fine, he says he's coming. So he creates a scenario. So he tells me he's coming, right? So the first day, I've arrived in the city, okay? He was staying maybe, let's say, he told me about 20 minutes from where I was staying, just by estimate. He then tells me, okay, we can meet the day after, because I think, we can meet the day after because tomorrow I'm going to do something else. I don't know what he said. I was like, okay, cool. He's not coming to see me, so that's fair and fine. I did my things. Then the day we were meant to meet, he tells me, unfortunately, where I am, so he said he'd come to stay with relatives. He then tells me, the in-laws of the relatives is here. They've asked me to bride, so I'm unable to now leave the house because I'm like, when you're like, okay, I thought I've passed this stage of drama and all that. Now, when you know this person is lying, but you're just like, nah, man, let's just give him the benefit of doubt. Maybe he's changed. Maybe, I don't know. And then that was the first time. And then I was just like, I knew it was a lie. And then the next day then I got upset. I'm like, you can't keep doing these things to me. You just can't come and you cannot be doing these things to me. And then, obviously, I then realized it was a lie again. And if you'd ask him, why would you go to those lengths of lying that you've come to a different province to see someone and you are there? How does your head work? How does your... I think I would never get that answer.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like you would.
No. So I wouldn't. So yeah, he's been asking. So from then, obviously, started to still want to. I'm like, you know what? This will never work ever because it's just pointless. So then, that's how it ended. I think. Yeah, not that I think. That's how it actually ended. I'm sure I've missed bits and pieces, but essentially he was like, that's how it ended.
What were you upset about the most when you ended the relationship? What did you miss?
I think I was mostly upset with the way he lied to me, lied to my face and would still act like it's okay. Like you make a whole scenario, like you speak to me as someone and still come to me and still kiss me and still love on me and still, do all those things. And you're okay with it. Like, your head doesn't tell you, no, what you do. Like, you don't think of coming out in the open and just say, you know what, I'm sorry. Because the other time I asked him about the siblings thing, I'm like, how can you lie about the people in your family? Like, who does that? And then his reason was, when we were friends, or before we started dating, I didn't tell people much about my life. So now when we were now dating, it was difficult for me to now start explaining. But I'm like, so when was this going to end? Like, we were going to just carry on until when? So for me, I think the one thing that hurt me the most was just the lies. And to a certain extent, I think I caused it on myself. I could have picked it up and just dealt with it. I don't know why I kept thinking, giving him the benefit of doubt, or thinking he was going to change. I don't know what I was saying. Maybe
the thing is, he didn't kiss himself though.
What does that mean?
You kissed him back because you just because you just said, how can you just come and kiss me as if
no,
like,
no, in that
he
sense
didn't kiss
of
himself.
Of course. I would allow we would engage together, obviously. But I'm just saying.
So as far as that goes, it's not really his own problem. I could say, what was wrong with you kissing him back?
But I don't know. I don't know. But before I knew, that was before I knew. So some of the story I only figured out at the end. So
if you don't have an answer to why you were kissing him back, how did you expect him to have an answer for why he thought it was okay for kissing you during that time?
No, I'm saying in terms of lying. I'm not talking about like the kisses. It's not like the kisses, but I'm just saying like you lying and telling me like things that are not happening and still be okay to come tell me, like to come and act like everything is okay. That's what I'm trying to say.
So I get that part.
Yeah.
But you were kissing him back, so it's okay. I mean, I'm not going to kiss a woman and continue kissing her if I can tell that she actually doesn't want to kiss.
Oh, I think you're misunderstanding me, Tinto.
Okay, help me understand you on that part.
Yeah, so I'm not saying he was kissing me without my consent or anything. No. All I'm saying is like the amount of stress he would put me through. So for example, if I love a person, right, there's certain things I would think I wouldn't do intentionally to hurt them, right? All in the name and coming back and say, because if I love someone, yes, I might make mistakes and do things that might hurt them, but I'll not continuously do the same things over and over again and still come and explain myself and act like everything is okay. So we still do life together, or I'm thinking we're doing life together, and yet I'm out here creating a whole fake life, which I am sort of presenting to you without knowing. You're just acting like, oh yeah, you're seeing this facade of a person and not what they're actually doing. Because all of this only came to, I only figured out most of it when at the end. So I didn't even know. I would like believe the things that he'll tell me, you know.
Yeah.
And all in the hope of like, oh yeah, I understand it's not like a big deal. It's like, okay, maybe life is just difficult for you, like bad season or whatever. And yet he knew what he was doing all along. He just knew what he was doing. He was just, I don't know what he was trying to achieve. Yeah. So it's really not about like what you were doing. Obviously, what you were doing, I was partaking it and loved it. But it's just that the actions part of you just being a deceitful person, that's just what I don't get.
So I'm gonna speak as a guy, right?
Yeah.
I can lie to you today, and I'll feel like shit about it. But then when I come to explain myself to you, I meet you at the door, I give you a hug, I rub your back, and then you start softening up. I start kissing the back of your neck, turning you around and then actually kissing you, and you allow me to kiss you. Part of what I'm doing is getting self-gratification in terms of how horny I am and my physical needs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow me to do that, I will repeat that. So that is just normal masculine behavior and energy. If you allow us to get away with shit, we will.
Yeah, I guess I did allow him.
Yeah, so and this is what I was trying to get to but when I was asking the question that I was to say, if you tell a guy to get lost once, he might think, oh, okay, I'm not sure what that was about. And you tell him again, he will eventually start thinking, oh, snap, she actually means this. And the third time he'll be like, whoa, she really does mean it, and I can't get away with my bullshit.
Yeah.
So, there's a bit of an answer to the question you're asking, in the sense that it was two to tango, in the same way they're saying you can't kiss yourself. I mean, kisses are nice.
Fair enough.
I enjoy kisses. I love kisses. But I also know of instances when I could have kissed someone, but did not kiss back. And I got asked, ooh, what's wrong? And then I would say what's wrong. And if they tried it again the second time, and I see them approaching, I actually back off, then it was very obvious something is wrong. And then that conversation would then ensue. But anyway, this is all in hindsight, right?
Yeah.
But part of the answers, I think, to your question and how some of his behavior may have been that way, is also rooted in maybe how you potentially handled the situation too.
Yeah.
In that a stronger message, I think, could have been sent out. You're not coming to see me, you're not coming to talk to me until you got straightforward answers, until you had your money. But all of these are lessons learned, right? In that it's not a reflection on anything that is the current, because now at least you've left him. And you're no longer with him, and you don't need to be with him. And your lessons, then become a part of this episode. Number one, your sixth sense is your saving grace. Listen to it. So what was your sixth sense telling you from day one?
There was just something that I always felt like was off with him.
About him, yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't put a finger to it, of saying, okay, this is exactly, not because he would do, because I think that one thing I also struggled to reconcile was, he was like, as a person, he's like a gentle person. Like, he's a gentle person, he's kind-hearted, and he's like, this person, then he's doing these other things. I think if he was more like a rough rider, I would be like, oh yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. That's why he's like acting in this way. So I think how I would see him would be like, oh, this kind of a guy, or this kind of a person, or that he showed me, or what I saw in him. And then so now this thing would be like, okay, he can't be lying. Like, why would he be lying?
Yeah.
Like, what's the reason of lying? I should be lying. So that's when I would just be like, maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe I'm just trying to find something wrong when, and yet he hasn't done, and yet I could just see the things there.
Yeah. I get you. Then number two, red flags are called red flags for a reason. Do yourself a favor and respect yourself, and try not to be a clown in the name of love.
Look at me now.
And needless to say, number three, 2 minutes of high doesn't translate into a healthy relationship. Yeah, so something about this felt disjointed in how you guys were. And then last but not least, sometimes you just make dumb decisions in the university of life, and that's it. Don't be kissing a boy when you're not feeling it and you know you got beef. Right? Don't be giving that kiss back. Keep your tongue inside the mouth.
It's just so difficult, even if you're upset. But okay, I've learned. I don't know.
But okay, what? Explain yourself. What were you about to say?
Nothing. Okay. But I hear you.
You're about to go back to that university and be a clown again. Anyway, thanks, Vina, for sharing your story. You guys have been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I'll catch you in next week's episode.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis on Daro Raini and Chake Zain.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis on Daro Raini and Chake Zain.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru no to kujiziro amai.
Kujiziro amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru no to kujiziro amai.